Hello and welcome to today's episode. We're about to meet an Indian couple that is changing the world of menstruation for women across the globe. They are Aditi and Tuhin of Menstrupedia.
Indian couple Aditi Gupta and Tuhin Paul gave up well-paying jobs in the e-learning industry to educate India about menstrual health. Because the lack of awareness about menstrual health and hygiene kills nearly 1 million Indian women every year. It also leads to low self-esteem and poor health amongst many more. Aditi, a user experience designer, and Tuhin, an animator, have created a comprehensive website, blog, and a comic book to speak the unspeakable truth about menstruation. They call it Menstrupedia. Since the launch of their website and outreach programs, this couple has educated nearly 14 lakh women in India and beyond.
Tuhin, Aditi, tell me, how did Menstrupedia come about?
The ground for Menstrupedia started in 2009 when I and Tuhin were design students at the National Institute of Design. That was the time when we got into a relationship, and Tuhin came to know about the inconvenience of periods that girls go through. And in order to help me, he would go on Google and search for information and share those with me. And that time we realized that there were very basic facts about menstruation and as well as my own body that I was not aware of. And it stuck to us that we, being so educated and informed, were very ill-informed and unaware of about menstruation. So we did a 1-year extensive research project at NID, knowing that, okay, what is the level of awareness that is there now in girls? We went to schools, talked to girls, parents, teachers, and we realized that things are exactly the same that were there when I was a girl. In fact, girls have started getting, many of the girls start getting their periods, first periods much earlier these days.
The topic of reproductive health has been considered an important part of education. But menstrual health has remained a thing that teachers and schools shy away from. Aditi shares her experience with the discomfort that this topic continues to generate.
I got my periods in class 7, and the chapter that talked about periods came in class 9. We had a very friendly teacher, biology teacher, and he completely skipped the entire chapter, asking us to go on our own. And
it was a man?
Yeah.
It was a male teacher?
Yeah, it was a male teacher. And there were no questions that appeared in the exam from that chapter, which completely indicated every one of us that, this is not something to be spoken of. Also, in my house, I used to follow a lot of myths. It was more like an unspeakable truth of your life.
Just going back to what you mentioned about how Tuhin took interest. Yeah. Tuhin, I think I want you to tell me here, why did you take an interest? Because if you look at our culture, men don't necessarily take an interest in this topic. So why did you want to take an interest, and why did you want to understand what was happening, with Aditi?
So the primary reason for me taking interest into it was because Aditi was my girlfriend, and I wanted to help her out in any way possible during those days of the month. Say regarding if there is anything that she can do regarding her cramps or any inconvenience, or there are other alternative ways to manage menstruation. Okay, so that's why I thought probably just a few preliminary research on Google would probably help me be on the same chapter. And when I discussed those things with Aditi, that okay, Aditi, see, this is how you can also do this, and people also take medications, or they take that hot water
bags or bottles,
bottles to relieve cramps. Also, probably how menstruation related to ovulation and all of that thing. That was news to her.
Yeah.
Okay, and we thought that okay, we are like postgraduate students, and we have internet access and all of that, and if we are, especially if Aditi is not aware about a lot of basic things, okay, and a lot of things that are myths, but she was following them. Yeah. Okay, so then there will be probably millions of girls out there who would be ill aware about it, and that's not the right thing.
So tell me, how is Menstrupedia changing this? How are you getting the message out there to women that A, this is how it all works, and B, it's okay to talk about it?
So, okay, we are using different communication mediums. So, one is the internet, through which we can reach out to instantly, people not just in India but say across the world. And the another thing that we are doing is using the print media, so that it can be taken to places where there's leave internet, there's no electricity also. So when we had created the prototype, we had some basic.
This is the comic book you're talking about.
Yeah, the prototype of the comic book. So we just had some basic information about menstruation, which we just validated that okay, this is correct, and let's turn it into a prototype. And once the website was live, so people from even US or UK and all these places where they have very well established sex education in place in all the schools, so they also started reading about it.
Okay.
And they gave us feedback which helped us improve the content in this
One
time.
aspect of Menstrupedia's website is that it has a Menstrupedia blog, and it's a completely collaborative space. So we ask people that share your stories, your anecdotes, tips, views about menstruation, and we'll publish it on the blog. From our side, we contribute a beautiful illustration to it. So what has happened is that people have even written poems on their periods. Now, when you write poems on a subject like this, you actually are challenging
a world of conversation on that.
Exactly.
Exactly. And we have stories from, 12 class girls. We have stories from mothers who have 2 girls. We have stories from husbands. We have poem from a husband. So, it constantly creates a buzz on social media. It also says other people that it's cool to talk about menstruation. When I share my stories, it's read by so many people and it has reached so many people. It became a medium for us to, constantly challenge the taboo status of the subject, and that way online space have been very efficient in doing it.
Team Menstrupedia understands that menstrual awareness has got to do with not just health and hygiene, but also self-esteem. And that's why on their website, they go beyond the basics and help nurture a more accepting and open attitude towards puberty and physiological development.
When we get these testimonials where, say, one father actually used our website to educate his daughter about menstruation, and then some mother used it, like she opened the website and sat with her daughter to explain her. And since all the topics are there, well arranged, so it's very easy for them to explain any particular topic on it.
Sure.
So along with saying that, period is a part of growing up, you also have to say that these are the other aspects of growing up. It's also not only the physical changes, but also the emotional changes. And thus you generate a positive perception about your body. Like we grow differently. I don't look similar to the other girl. And then that is how we form perceptions about that our body, that she is beautiful, or I am less beautiful, or I am less taller.
Yeah.
And it is very important for our kids or girls to say at that stage that, difference is something that makes us unique, and that is the beauty of it.
So it's a message of self-acceptance.
Yeah,
primarily.
self-acceptance, and feeling, not denying your body, because when periods happen, we kind of deny our body, and this leads to unhygienic practices. Since if you deny your body, you are not comfortable with who you are, and also you don't take good care or hygiene of your various parts of the body. So it's that deep-rooted.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like branding it impure is like the the worst kind of damage
stigma
you can inflict upon the self-esteem or body image that girls have about it, because as it is, they're dealing with their changing bodies and they are feeling that okay, why is it changing so fast, or I am not looking beautiful, or all of those things. And then you are saying okay, this particular aspect of your body which is natural and it's essential, and you are saying that it's impure. So it's nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes I have faced all these problems myself, and it takes years and years to overcome those discriminations, or let's say branding.
Yeah. Yeah. The deep set notions in our
deep
heads.
set notions. I think only if you grow up to when you're in 20s, then you realize that you're exactly free, and you accept yourself the way you are. Yeah.
Aditi and Tuhin have just launched the Menstrupedia comic. The book educates through a conversation between 4 characters. 3 young girls and an older girl who plays the role of an informed and friendly sibling. In the pilot phase, This book has been shared with 500 girls and women through volunteers. The amazing response received has nurtured big goals for the team.
What is the plan with the comic book and how are you going to distribute it? Where all is it going to be available?
So for distribution, we would be mostly tying up with schools, NGOs and civic bodies. Okay. And so, I mean, the schools, they understand the importance of menstrual awareness. It's just that they lack the proper means to discuss it, or their teachers
the tools to facilitate a discussion.
Exactly. So, once they have this comic book, they can easily conduct workshops and give this comic away to the girls. Okay. And this comic also serves another purpose, which is basically that you are educating the girls. Okay. But what about the mothers? And it becomes a conflicting scenario for them, that they are getting one thing from the schools and one thing from the family.
So it's the comic books help start a conversation between the mother and the daughter.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if this book is there at home, so mothers would also like to read through it. You know.
In fact, parents are actually the buyer. So menstrual unawareness is everywhere. It's in the rural area, it's in the urban area. School do not address it at the right time. Our goal is to generate enough funds from the urban area, and then along with CSR initiative, sponsorship and ad revenues, take the entire menstrual drive to rural region as well. So if the comic is available for sale in urban area, in rural area it would be extremely subsidized and distributed. So that is our main goal, and
that's fantastic.
We wish to reach 3 million girls in another 3 years. Let's see.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So, what's the journey been like for you two? You know, from the time you met, because this is something that's probably brought the two of you together, helped you discover each other, discover your own strengths as well, right? And maybe also you fought about this sometimes, right? So, how's the journey been? Tell me about that. You know, from a personal point of view.
It's been very exciting. We've had high and low emotional points in this journey. We have, you know, like, we even considered that should we go on with this or should we not, and then we, in retrospection, if we see, we've received so much support from people, and you know, we've created something like, it is something like a dream for us to create something that's being used by so many people. Okay. And whenever we realize that, I think I mean, there's no emotional point that's low enough to actually, you know, contradict that, and that thing keeps us going. And I think over the time it has made our bonding very strong, you know, because we share the same goal, we share same history that is there in this journey, and that I think for this project I wouldn't like to team up with anybody else other than Aditi.
I think you're better now. You're gonna start with each other.
Yeah. And also.
But I wouldn't even find if I go and try to find somebody who could probably, you know, play the same role as she's playing. I don't think I would be able to find anybody else.
I think given your skill sets and what you specialized in, and the fact that the whole thing came about so organically, the way I see it now today with the two of you talking in front of me, it almost seems like this was meant to be.
Yeah. And yeah. I think I've been definitely deeply in love with Tuhin and the way we have brought it together. Also, a 9-year-old me is also in love with him, because we are creating something. I mean, if this has been with a 9-year-old me, it would have been very simple for her to, you know, understand the entire process.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, and I hope your website and the comic book reaches millions of people, and women feel much more empowered about their own bodies. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for having us.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Tuhin and Aditi of Menstrupedia. Do subscribe to the channel so you can watch the other fabulous episodes that we have. And of course, comment, send us an email. We're on Facebook and Twitter as well. So leave us a note. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you. If you enjoyed that conversation, here's more.